Your dice game number 22. My name is Mandy Yu. I'm a first year applied math major.
Hi, and my name is Faith Liu, or Chinsu Liu, and my major is applied math.
Hi, it's Feng Zhe. I'm a first year mechanical engineering major.
For the finals project, we chose the dice game and we decided to recreate the game Yahtzee. So when you start the app, you will see the starting screen and you can click stars and change the player's name. So the game will already start with player 1, which is me. So I would do a roll and the dice will change accordingly and you can choose your points based on a different combination. When you click it, it goes to the next person's. When you roll, you can keep the one you want to keep and roll and it will not change. And click the points and it goes back to the first person. You get 3 rolls for each round. After 3 rolls, you have to click a point to go to the next person's. And the game goes on like that. When you reach the end, let's say we're player 2, when you click all 6 points on the top, you will see your sum and see if you get bonus. And in the end, it will calculate all the points and show who wins. When you win, you see a you win stickers next to your character. And you can restart the game anytime. Open this screen. You can play remotely with your friends when you could play online. Open a different screen. For this example, I would open another one. You choose player 1, start, and you roll. And you collect the points. And player 2, start. You'll receive the point right away, and you can roll as well. You choose the points, and player 1 roll again. The points will show up on the table as well. And that's how you play remotely with your friends. To calculate the scores, and this is our functions. It's like num of ones is that in the 5 dices, how many ones you have, and then the sum of ones is that the number of ones times 1, and this is the sum of twos, and then you can have the corresponding the 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s.
Like 3 of a kind, 4 of a kind, full house, small straight and large straight, and chance have their own rules. That's it. So it happens that when 3 same dice occurs, the 3 of a kind is the combination of all the dice together, and 4 of kinds is when 4 same dice occurs. 4 of kinds is the combination of all the points, and the full house is when 3 dice are the same and the other 2 are the same, and the total points is 25. And the small straight is something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 3, 4, 5, 6. It's like 4 consecutive numbers, and large straight is like 5 consecutive number, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And chance
It's like the sum of all 5 dices. And if when you roll the dice and you got all the 5 dices have the same number, then you get Yahtzee, which is a 50 points of score.
Next, I will talk about how to switch between players. So here's the function for switching from player 1 to player 2. Then we set all the information for player 1. So app click is set to true because you cannot click anything unless app click is true. And it resets the total roll, this is 3. And app single click becomes default because it resets the click so the player can't click if the data just clicked. It will play the click sounds and keep all the buttons false and sets all the key buttons to unable. And it will make the dice showing here, one of them is invisible to indicate which player is playing right now. And it will change the text to switch turn. Same goes from player 2 to player 1, except player 1 changed to 1 now, and everything else is the same. The function here is to reroll all the dice. If the key button is not clicked, then it would dice 1 become a random numbers from 1 to 6, and so forth from 2, 3, 4, 5. And this function will change the image corresponding to the dice. If it's 1, then the picture is 1. If it's 2, the picture is 2. And it's the same for all 5 dice. I will continue to talk about the startup function. So from the beginning, player sets to 1 because they start with 1, and they would have 3 rolls. And this app start was 1, because the start button will change to restart after you click 1. So it's default to be 1 for now. Clicks and single clicks, it's for the player to roll, to click the data after they roll, and the roll button is off until the player clicks stars, so as all the keep buttons. This is the default image for player 1 and 2, and default pictures for all the dices, and this is to add the help button image. This is to put on the win GIF, and they are set to off because no one has beaten yet. And now I'll transition to Chenxi.
So this part is how we can make some design in the table. This part is how we can know every cell is clicked by the user. Is that at the beginning, all of the cells are set to be 1, and this is represents for every cell. It's the name of every cell. It is to be 1, and if the user click the cell, and the number will become 0. So if all the number becomes 0, it means the user click all the cells, and then we make calculate the scores.
This is the part where I put the sound effect for rolling dice, and the winning sound effects, and the sound effect when you start a game, and the sound effect when you click the roll dice, and this is the code for the default of the data table, and this is the prompt when you start a game, and this is the function that let you set a player's name.
Next, I will talk about what the roll button does. You can only click the roll button if the previous player clicked a cell, or if you have more than 0 rolls. So when you have either of those true, it would set the keep button on, and now you can choose whether you want to keep it or roll it. And if you still have 3 rolls left, the prompt test would say click the dice you want to keep. You have 2 more rolls, and if you have 2, it would say you have 1 more. And if you only have 1, it would tell you to choose a score so you can go to the next person. And every time you click a button, the roll will be -1, and the click would be false, and the single click will be true. And every time you click it, it will play the rolling sounds, and it would have the function of rolling dice and display the image as well.
Okay, so then if it's player 1, roll the button, and we will calculate the scores in the table of player 1 in the first column. And so this is the part we check whether the player 1 had clicked the cell. So if the player 1 didn't click the cell, and the score will calculate in the cell. And it's 1's value. This is all part of player 1. And then there's if the player 2 push the roll button, and all the scores will display in the second row, in the second column. It's here. And in the next part is the cell selection part. Is that when the user click the cell, and what would happen is that when the user click, and so when the user click, we will block this table. They would not calculate anymore. The user click 1-1 is the 1-1 this table in the table, the cell indicator will become 0, and so on. And this part is for player 2. It's the same. If all the top 6 cells have been clicked, then we calculate the bonus in the sum for the player. And this is for the player 1. This is for the player 2.
Next, I will talk about the remote part of the project using TeamSpeak. So the screen is pretty much the same, besides the dice are not shown anymore. And when you click player 1, you become player 1. Player 2, you become player 2. And the majority of the codes are exactly the same. We added a new variable called app_turn, which is it would read the third field from TeamSpeak, which is for checking which turn is it, and it's changed through when you click the cell. When you click a cell from player 1, it would change the turn to 2. You can see here, it would also write the data, the table, and basically, if you're player 1 and it's turn 1, it would read the data of player 2, and
And that's our project, and thank you guys for watching.